All right, guys, June 4th, another testimony time. This one is actually in my book, Open-Handed Living, because it's just such a cool, amazing story. I call this story always Everest, because it's the time that God gifted us a mountain. And it was just an incredible story of his goodness. And I know I shared the last couple days a couple testimonies of him just working in my life and in my heart, where this one's more tangible, which is always cool to see too. But when we had our number 6 baby, we completely outgrew our house that we were living in, Medina, and we were looking for maybe 2-3 years looking for houses. And every house we went into that we found, like, okay, this is good, this is perfect, because we were trying to find like land and like a fixer-upper, because you can't really get a house and land for the cost point that we had, because we were, we had 6 kids, and my husband was launching Varut, his company, and funds were not flowing yet. We always would joke of like, when Varut takes off, we will do XYZ, because it was really tight. But anyways, every time we'd look at one and say like, okay, this is in our price point, we can make this work, the house would fall through every time. And every time we would tell the kids, because they'd always go with us, for the final, like, okay, I think we're going to put an offer in. Let's take the kids. Let's see what they think about it. And every time they would, that it would fall through, we would just tell them like, right, the Lord obviously has something better planned. So that's why it fell through, because his plan is always better than our plan. And so we were in Medina, and this house came up. I think it's been up. It was up, but we just never got on our radar, because it was way, way out of our price range, like triple our price range, way out of our price range. But we went to go look at it just because we thought it'd be a really cool house to go see. This 13,000 square foot mansion on 20 acres, had this huge pond, this indoor pool. It was insane. And so our friend who's a realtor, we're like, can we just go look at this? Because we think it'd be fun, and we're kind of fatigued from house hunting and not having any luck. So just be nice to just have some fun with it. So we went, and the house, like I said, was insane. Like, one of the rooms was literally just this giant jacuzzi tub, all marble, with mirrors across the walls and these swan heads that filled the tub. It was insane, like crystal sconces everywhere. Like, these lights were nuts. It was super cool. And after we looked around it, my husband asked his friend, he's like, what if we put in an offer? And our friend knows, like, we are nowhere near able to afford this. And he's like, what? And he's just like, all she can say is no, right? And so we put in an offer, and she came down a few $100,000, still way out of our price range. So we went up like 1,000, because that's all we had is wiggle room. And she again came down a couple more $100,000. And at one point, I think we went back and forth like 3 times. Someone put in a legitimate offer to her, and she took it. And so we're like, okay, well, that's fine. God has something different planned. We weren't expecting to get it anyways. And like, do we even want like something with a pond with all our little kids? So, it's not that cool. Talking ourselves out of it. And then about 3 or 4 months later, I might be getting my timeline messed up a little bit. Maybe it was longer. It's hard to remember, but a decent amount of time later, my husband saw that it went back up on the market. And he's like, that's super weird. Like, the house is back up. Should we put in an offer again? I'm like, okay, but this time let's not go back and forth. Let's pray for God to give us a number. And then we would know that it's him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it, because I just talked myself out of it with that pond and everything. I don't want it unless he says yes, because that would mean he'd protect our kids and he'd just provide, because it needed renovations, that we could just trust him in every step. So what's our God number? Which again was very far from where we left off with her, very far from the offer she got. But we came up with that number. We prayed about it. We're in agreement on the number. And so we put it in as our only offer, and she accepted it. And she never met us. She lives in Miami, like never met us. Only the realtor met us. They never saw our kids. They never knew we had a bunch of kids. It was just God's hand. And like literally he moved a mountain. Like when they say like, oh, pray and in faith, God will move mountains. Like he didn't just move a mountain. He gifted us a mountain. It was insane. So we get this house, and even the renovation process was so God's hand, because like when you're in a 13,000 square foot house, redoing a bathroom is a fortune. Like redoing anything, like the kitchen floor, I want to say the kitchen was the size of like our first home in Berea. Like it was huge. And so like we had to redo the floor and redo the counters, because it was like this really weird, a lot of the things were really weird in it. They were single, or they were married couple with a single child, and Indian. And so there was a lot of different architecture that was unique for their heritage, I guess, or ethnicity. So we had to do quite a bit of work in it. And so like even painting is costly when you're in a house that big. But God just did like really, really amazing, crazy things. Like we had these electricians who did like half the work and then just stopped showing up, which was super aggravating, because then we had to try to find somebody else. But they ended up never giving us a bill. Like we couldn't find them. Like they literally disappeared, which like I said was frustrating at the time. But then we're like, wow, we never even had to pay them. So we got most of the work done for literally nothing. And then like we, like these lights, like every area, you know, if I needed to get something, it'd be like 5 of something. It was ridiculous. I'd go on to like eBay, and where it said best offer, I would just like offer, like, I'll pay you for 2 of them, but I need 5, but I want the price of 2. And people would just accept it. Like, it was crazy. God just provided abundantly in it. It was so much fun. We got to host sister-in-law's wedding. We've had baby showers for people there. Now it's an actual event venue. So if you want to look it up and see it, you can see it on, I think they call it Medina Mansions. And it's like a wedding venue and an Airbnb now, which actually my husband rented out for us to celebrate my 40th birthday later this year. So I'm so excited to go back to our old house, and for my kids to go back into it, even if it's just for a party. It's super special. So just a huge testimony. Oh, and like one of the coolest things about it is when we went down the driveway to show the kids the house we bought, my oldest in the back, he's like, Mom, wow, like God really did have something bigger planned. And it's like, yes, like what a cool testimony for him to see that, like when you don't rush ahead of God, and when you wait for his perfect timing and you put your trust in him, like he does provide. And I mean, this one's obviously a story of an abundance, and sometimes his provision is strength, you know, or changing your heart. But it was really cool for him and my other kids who are a little bit older, because the little ones probably didn't understand, but to see just God's provision and God's plan being best. So it's a cool testimony for our family. So I thought I'd share. All right, guys, we will see you later.